Welcome back. All right, so Saturday, we've got 3 very early games on Saturday, so I will be uploading this to the channel. It will go live early in the morning on Saturday morning. And then we've got 5 later games. So I also want to say this straight up front because I see it a lot in the comments. When Toronto wins, when Calgary wins, Edmonton, Montreal, I don't get upset as a Canucks fan because here's the thing. Before I was a YouTuber, I was a hockey fan. So yeah, I might get upset with certain results. As a YouTuber, I'm aware that when the Canadian teams are doing better, I get more views. When Toronto's in the playoffs, I get more views. Calgary, Edmonton, I get more views. And so if I was disliking a run by Toronto, by Calgary, I'd be disliking what is actually driving more traffic to the site, which makes no sense. If it drives traffic to the channel, cool, and that's what's changed over 5 years. That's the biggest change over 5.5 years since the channel started. So starting at noon Eastern, which is 9 a.m. Pacific, so I gotta get up bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and way too soon. So February 9th, Philadelphia, of course, played against Detroit at home. Detroit won in regulation in Philadelphia for the first time since 1997. Philadelphia will be trying to get revenge in this one for the 6-3 loss they suffered. They're 15-23-8. They don't look like a team that's capable of a lot of revenging, though. Their power play, 14.4%. Not great. Their penalty kill, 77.4%. Also in the not great category. Their goal scoring, 2.52 goals per game. They're allowing 3.35. So, not great. Last 10 games, same. 2-7-1. And they lost their most recent game against Detroit. Detroit's 21-6. I almost said 21-1-6. Hey, go Detroit. 21-21-6. 16.5% on the power play, so they're a little better in that area. 78.2% on the penalty kill. Again, a little bit better, but those numbers still aren't great. Their goal scoring, 2.79 per game. They're allowing 3.42 per game. So they're allowing a little bit more than Philly, but they're scoring a quarter of a goal more per game than Philadelphia's. Last 10 games, Detroit's 5-4-1. They did win their last game, which was, right, over Philadelphia. Then at 12:30 in the afternoon Eastern, 9:30 in the morning Pacific. Again, get your coffee ready if you're on the West Coast for this one. November 9th, Boston beat the Ottawa Senators 3-2. Now they're in Ottawa, and if they take Ottawa lightly, if they have their struggles early, Ottawa can absolutely beat Boston. If you want your upset tomorrow, this could be it. Boston's 26-16-3. Their power play, excellent, 25.7%. Their penalty kill, also excellent, 82.1%. But without Bergeron and Marchand, that's going to negatively impact both of those numbers. 2.93 goals per game, 2.87 goals against per game, so their goal differential is not very high. It's positive, but just barely. Over their last 10, they are 4-5-1. They lost their last 2 games in regulation, including that game against Carolina, which was, 17-3 or something? It was some ridiculous number. Anyways, Ottawa, 16-23-4 overall. Their power play, 17.6%. Their penalty kill, 80.9%. They're scoring 2.72 goals per game, so a little bit less than Detroit. 3.28 goals against per game, which is also less than Detroit. Their goal differential is actually not bad. So if you look at their record, the record's not great, but their special teams aren't awful. Their goal differential is not bad. This is a team to watch in the second half of the season. They will play spoiler. And the record over their last 10 is 5-3-2. They did lose their last game in regulation. The third and fourth meetings between these teams will be February 19th, so next Saturday, as well as April 14th to close out the season series between the two. Also at 12:30 in the afternoon Eastern, 9:30 in the morning Pacific, the Columbus Blue Jackets in against the Montreal Canadiens. On January 30th, Columbus wins this matchup 6-3. So Columbus is happy to see Montreal again, and they might be able to get over 500 this time. They're 22-22-1. Getting above 500 has been a problem for Columbus. 16.8% on the power play, 80% on the penalty kill, 3.16 goals per game. They are scoring more goals per game than any other team I've covered thus far, but they're allowing 3.67. Their defense and goaltending, hallmarks for the team, have been a problem. Over their last 10, they're 5-5. They've won 2 in a row. It feels to me like more often than not, they're 5-5 in their last 10, and they're at 500. Montreal, 8-31-7. Definitely not 500. But if they win 23 games in a row, they get to 500. So all they have to do is win 23 in a row. Sounds simple enough. 13.9% on the power play, not great. 73.5% on the penalty kill. We'll see with Marty St. Louis whether or not that gets better. He said he doesn't really like systems. He's more along the lines of, just go with the flow of the play and have a style that he wants to bring to it. So a little bit less structured, and so that may help them score some more goals. 2.2 goals per game tells you they need to, and allowing 4 goals per game says they need to keep the puck out of the net more too. Last 10 games, 1-7-2. They've lost 6 in a row, and their goaltending isn't doing them any favors either. It's going to be a long rest of the season for Montreal. Then we jump ahead 6.5 hours, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. The Toronto Maple Leafs in against the Vancouver Canucks. This one of those, all of these are the delayed games, but this was the big one. They delayed this game so they can still have 50% capacity. 30-11-3 for Toronto on the year. Power play 29.6%, penalty kill 84.3%, 3.57 goals scored per game, 2.7 against per game. Last 10 games, they're 7-3. They lost their last game in Calgary, and they're probably going to be pretty ornery against Vancouver. Great. Vancouver's 21-21-6, much like a couple other teams on the board. They have trouble getting above 500 and staying there. 19.6% on the power play, which isn't bad. 71% on the penalty kill is bad, but it's been better under Bruce Boudreau. 2.5 goals scored per game, not great, allowing 2.71. Their goals against per game is below every other team on this side of the board, and it's almost the same as Toronto. So Toronto 2.7 goals against, Vancouver 2.71. Considering what this number was before Bruce Boudreau took over, that is miraculous. Last 10 games, they are 4-3-3. They did lose their last game. This is the first of 2 meetings. The other one will be in Toronto on March 5th. Moving along, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific start time between Winnipeg and Nashville. This is the final meeting, the third meeting. October 23rd, Winnipeg wins this one 6-4. January 20th, Nashville wins it 5-2. The Jets are now 19-17-8. Their power play 20.6%, which is okay. Their penalty kill 75%. It's getting better as well. So their penalty kill has been almost as historically bad as Vancouver's, but it's been getting better. Same with Vancouver's. 2.82 goals per game. They're allowing 2.91. So they have a negative goal differential. Last 10 games are miserable. 2-5-3 with the overtime loss tonight against Dallas standing out too. They really need to start getting 2 points. Nashville won't make it easy. They're 28-15-4. Their power play 24.5%. Their penalty kill 81.6%. Stay out of the box if you're Winnipeg. 3.11 goals scored per game. Goals against 2.7 even. Last 10 games, Nashville's 4-4-2. They did lose their last game. We'll see how this one goes tomorrow. Then at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific, the Carolina Hurricanes in against Minnesota. This might be the game of the night. This is the first of 2 meetings. There's 2 ways this could go. We're either going to see a great goaltending duel and a 1-0, 2-1 style game, maybe overtime, or it's going to be like 7-5, 8-6, some kind of crazy, ridiculous total. For Carolina, 32-10-3 is their overall record. They're 24.8% on the power play, 89.3% on the penalty kill. They're scoring 3.51 goals per game. Goals against, they're number 1 in the league with 2.36 goals allowed per game. Last 10 games, they are 7-2-1. They did win their last game. So they're in against Minnesota, who are 28-11-3 overall. So their record is similar to Carolina's. 19.2% of the power play, 80.1% of the penalty kill. Those numbers are not as good as Carolina's. However, they have scored more. They're scoring 3.74 goals per game, but they've also allowed more, 2.83 goals against per game. Last 10 games, they're 8-1-1. They lost their last game in regulation. So, yeah, put together, these teams have won 15 of their last 20. So this should be a really fun game. Looking forward to that. The second meeting will be in Carolina on April 2nd. Then at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific as well, we get Chicago and St. Louis. So October 30th, St. Louis wins this matchup 1-0. November 26th, Chicago wins in overtime 3-2. Chicago's 17-23-7 on the season. Their power play 19.9%. Penalty kill 74.6%. So those numbers combined, not fantastic. 2.4 goals per game, which is low, and their goals against 3.32 per game. But that has come down. It feels like Fleury's been bringing that down by himself. Last 10 games, they're 3-5-2. They did win their last game. St. Louis 26-14-5. Their power play, 27.6%. Very efficient. Penalty kill, 84.6%. Special teams absolutely favor St. Louis here. 3.44 goals per game scored. 2.8 goals against per game scored. Last 10 games, they're 6-4. They've lost 2 in a row. And then there's a 2-hour break before the next game starts. So, yeah, I have plenty of time to watch these 4. And then at 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern. And I'm just hoping for a close game. It can be demoralizing when you're waiting to report on these games and the last game of the night is just this blowout. And you're like, oh, okay. Because blowout games, for some reason, also take about 20 minutes longer. Somehow those games end up being a lot longer. You end up with a lot more scrums and scuffles. And it's like, oh, come on. Come on. So anyways, November 20th, Calgary wins this matchup in New York 5-2. Believe that was the Islanders' first home game after the 13-game road trip. So the Islanders will be looking to get some revenge against Calgary. They're 17-18-6 with the loss tonight against Edmonton. Their power play 17.9%. Their penalty kill much better at 82.5%. They're scoring 2.41 goals per game. They're allowing 2.63 over their last 10. They're 5-5. They lost their last game. So Islanders, Vancouver, Tampa, all of them trying, and Detroit, all of them trying to get above 500. And they're all kind of hanging around that same mediocre number. Now for Calgary, nothing mediocre here. They're 25-13-6. Their power play 21.5%. Their penalty kill 84.9%. They're scoring 3.3 goals per game. They're allowing 2.41 goals per game. So they're allowing just a little bit more per game than Carolina. Last 10 games, they're 8-2. They've won 5 in a row coming into this one. And they're getting the Islanders on the second half of a back-to-back. So I'm wearing Calgary. I think they've got a very good chance of winning this one tomorrow night to close out tomorrow night's games. But we shall see. And if they do win this one tomorrow night, odds are they're going to be a big mover on the power rankings. Calling it now, they'll be a big mover on tomorrow night's power rankings if they win that one as well. Just because it's been 2 weeks since I did one. So, yeah. Anyways, there you go. Let me know your thoughts, your picks in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.